Shut up and sit down.
What's happening, guys? This is the Takeover Tuesday show. My name's Carlos Redlick, and I got David Allen on the other side. What's happening, David?
Hey, how's it going, Carlos? Another edition of Takeover Tuesday podcast, and you are live from Arizona. Is that right?
Live from Arizona. This place is so beautiful. I mean, I got off. I'm walking around everywhere. There's mountains everywhere. I saw a rabbit, like a little bunny, walking around the street. I'm like, what the fuck? It was going to a restaurant, and I'm like, this is madness. Like, I love this place already. There's bunnies and shit running around. This is crazy.
That's awesome. Well, today we have a guest, a digital marketing consultant, all the way from India. I hope I pronounced this right, but castigate me if I don't. His name is Harneet Bhalla. Harneet, are you there?
Yeah, David, I'm here and I'm really excited to be on the show.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. I think this is the first person we've had from that far away. So let's just dig right in. And why don't you tell us a bit, for the people who aren't as familiar with you as we are, tell everybody a little bit of how you got started in the digital marketing world and where you're at now.
Yeah, sure. I think it all started while in my childhood days because I was having a couple of different passions. So one of the passion that I was really having was psychology and understanding how people react to each other, how people react to certain messages, certain words, their emotions, their expressions, and how they are behaving to me, and all of these different things that goes all above our head. And I think moving forward, there was another passion of all the technical equipments that you see around, like laptops, mobiles, iPads. And I think the combination of both of these things got me into digital marketing, where I think both of these things are completely fulfilled because everything that we do online is all based on these two principles. One of them is the technological brain behind that. So we are building websites, doing some coding stuff, using some WordPress plugins, and doing all the using some different tools, lead pages, and all of these things. And the another part is obviously what Carlos and all of us does is using words and using messages and using videos and audios that we are recording right now as well to persuade people to buy our products and services to share information, right?
Excellent. Yeah,
So the
absolutely.
combination of both of these things got me into digital marketing. Currently, I'm a digital marketing consultant, coach, and speaker. Have been fortunate enough to speak at more than like 80 different stages around the country and a couple of international countries as well. And have really
That's
worked with
awesome.
like Fortune 500 and a lot of different other people as well.
Yeah, I saw that you had worked with such brands as Dunkin' Donuts and Domino's Pizza and some really big names.
Yeah, some Fortune 500s. I've really worked on these kinds of projects a lot, and I'm really fortunate enough to get that kind of an experience on how these brands do their marketing and what goes really behind the scenes of them.
Okay. Is there a specialty that you're working with on most of these clients, like a certain area, or is it an overall marketing strategy and stuff that you're doing?
I think if you talk about an overall area, I'm a master of a person where I will not be telling you to go everywhere and every place. So if you come to me and say that you have a t-shirt brand or a fashion brand, so I would be giving you hundreds of different questions that I have in my mind about that product. And then I'll tell you, like, go to Facebook, don't even activate LinkedIn, don't even use Twitter, just go on Facebook or just then move on to YouTube, then move on to Pinterest, and moving on to SEO Google. So I'll be the person making a complete robust kind of digital marketing strategy for you to get from X to Z and in a longer span of time. So it would be a couple of years kind of a marketing strategy that you are looking forward.
Okay, cool. That's what it sounds kind of like a step-by-step, baby step process that you advise.
Exactly. So there might be like competition analysis as well. So for example, a new startup is coming onto the picture, but there are a lot of established players into the market. So the biggest issue that they have is how to break down that market share and grab a couple of different consumers and moving forward to them. So we do some competition analysis, understanding the loopholes where the other competitors are not really so active and kind of in, I would say, in real power out there, and then we kind of go into that areas and kind of crush them up and take their market share and then move forward. So, in a
Crush
That's
them
in
up.
a
I like
hilarious.
that.
Awesome.
exactly. So in a nutshell, I would say, tell me whatever the organizational objectives or personal objectives you have, and then I would be telling you how to achieve that using marketing. So if you tell me that you need to recruit some good talented people into your company, I might be creating a marketing strategy for that as well.
Okay. Well, I think
Awesome.
for us on this podcast, we encounter, of course, people starting all sorts of businesses, but usually at the first phase of getting it off the ground and sort of starting to reach out for their audience. And also, we get a lot of questions from copywriters who are mostly solopreneurs and stuff like that, who are trying to establish themselves, find clients, and build their audience as well. What sort of advice would you have for people like that?
Okay, so any person who is just starting out and trying to get clients on board and is really facing some difficulties, I think there are three main characteristics that Carlos talks in every video that he does is like, know, and trust factor, right? So if you
Yeah.
have to first of all figure out how persons would first of all know about you, a lot of people just live in their nutshell and in their rooms. And I'm really I always give one example to every person that I meet. Now, let me tell you how this meeting goes on. The other person is like really into their product or into their service. They are giving me all the technical specifications. We have the best technology. We have the best taste of our product. We are using some of the finest ingredients in the world and all of these things. The complete 25-minute I would say, praising about his products and services. Every time it happens like the same. And then I just ask them one single thing. And it's like, man, do you know I make the best chocolates in the world? He says, no, I don't know about. And I'm like, exactly, because I'm not marketing that. That is the reason you have not called me for buying chocolates. You have just called me for marketing. And he's like, Jesus. So we have to market that. And I'm like, exactly. And would you really care about understanding what all ingredients that the person has put up in that chocolate or in that any product or service? No, you just take care about what kind of results or the benefits you are getting out of it rather than just features, right?
Yep.
So moving on, first of all, is how people know about you. So understand all of these traffic channels that we have and reach the maximum number of people. So I want to reach more international audience. So this is one of the platforms that I am on it right now. I'm reaching to the audience of Carlos. I'm reaching to the audience of David, right? This is a platform to know more people. Moving forward, it's all about how they like you. You have to talk their terminology. You have to talk what they talk about. You have to make little mental shifts in their brains by giving out free content, by giving out your information, by sharing some of your secrets that really work out for free so that they really like you and understand your personality, right? If a person is a person who likes to kind of hear slow voices, he will not do business with the people who are loud, right? So you have to attract the similar kind of people into your audience. Moving on, last one is the trust factor. You have to be authentic in your brand. You cannot be a scammer. You cannot just take someone's money and run away and don't reply to their messages and all of these things. So you have to create that trust by showing up every single day for years out there, and then the person is like, hey, I know him from years. Just like I don't know why I'm coming back to Carlos again and again, but he's really doing that great. It feels like I don't know. I have been seeing his videos just like couple of months, but it feels like I know Carlos. He is into the copywriting industry from years, right?
Hey,
And
whatever.
I think
Best
the
friends.
internet
We're best
feels
friends.
that way.
exactly, that is how you hack the market, I would say.
It's funny that you say that because one of the things that I actively try to do, and you really nailed it on the head, is getting people to trust you. But one of the reason why I post so much is also just so I stay relevant because there's especially with the internet. I mean, and especially Facebook. I mean, forget the internet, but you post one thing at like 8 a.m. or something in the morning, 5 hours later or 2 hours later, no one's even going to notice that. You know what I mean? Because there's so much content being filled out there. So What I like to do is I try to just post as much as possible so that way I'm relevant and I stay in front of people's faces. But it also does exactly what you said. It makes people know you, it makes people like you, and then at the end of the day, it makes people trust you. And if there's somebody, if you're staying relevant and you're always top of mind, like I just got it today, actually. I had one person who I've worked with in the past, like maybe 8 months ago. I haven't worked with him since, and he hit me up. He saw one of my pictures where I had a hater or something tell me like, you're a faggot, fuck you, or something like that. I don't know. He hit me up and he's like, dude, I appreciate you, man. Can you handle a video script for me? I was
Right.
like, yes, I can. I've got to keep doing shit like this. So you know what I mean? So I think you really nailed it on the head when you said about the trust factor, about all these other things. Because what people do is they're not so consistent, and so a lot of times maybe they'll do videos or do some marketing approach or whatever for a week or 2 weeks. But a lot of the things that I've had success with is whenever I really dig down and get as consistent as possible and just do it over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, just to add a little more context to all of these things, the next step to move from like, know, and trust factor is the branding factor. Now, once you basically attract all of these people, they'll know you, they like you, they trust you. That's the initial stages where you are, and then the people have to move to be a brand. So you have to establish yourself as an authority, as an influencer, and moving from the perspective of just like, know, and trust, and moving on to how to act like a brand in the complete online sphere. So it means like having some custom cover photos, custom profile pictures, having featured on some magazines, some podcasts, and just making yourself be as an influencer out there. So there are like steps to move forward as a personal brand as well.
Excellent. That's good advice. I think. Um, yeah, I've been amazed too how prolific Carlos is. Of course, that's actually how we met. I don't know if anyone we've talked about this on the show, but we were in multiple copywriting groups together, and as a result, we started interacting. I don't even remember what the conversations were, but we decided, hey, we should put these conversations into some sort of format and stuff because there's other people out there I'm sure that want to know about this stuff. And here we are on Takeover Tuesday every Tuesday. So Harneet,
Awesome.
you also said you did some speaking. I know there's people out there probably that are, and myself included, and I don't know, probably Carlos. How did you get into the speaking aspects of that, and do you have any advice on that front as well?
Yeah, there is a little story behind that now. I always wanted to be a personal brand as a personal celebrity in the space, and I have been working on it from years, I would say. One day I was at a networking event, and the other person told me, if you really want to get that edge out there, you have to be a speaker as well. Now I really love talking to people and all of these things, but as a professional speaker, I didn't knew about how to get started in speaking. Now I don't know a lot of people accept that or not. I did a lot of free speaking. So the first time I got an event was because the organizer was a good friend of mine, and it was a very small event. Hardly like 50, 60 people were coming out there. And I just called my friend and said him, hey, I really want to speak on marketing over there because I think I have a lot of information to share that is into my head, but I'm not able to put it out. So he just told me that, okay, you can come. Now I paid for my own travel. I paid for my own hotel. I took not even a single penny from there because no one was actually paying me, right? So I got out there and started it. Now from there, I really gave one of the best speeches of that complete event. I don't know how it came out to be, but it was like one of the best speeches of that event. Moving on, there were a couple of event organizers sitting in the audience as well, and then it all started up. But let me be honest about it. For the first couple of years, it was completely free, and I was not charging anything. I was most of the times I was paying for my own flights and hotels as well. Then moving on, finally, when I was at a stage of like 20 different stages, and people were actually knowing me as a speaker, then I automatically get introductions from here and there, and people are like, hey, I really want to call you as a speaker. So golden nuggets on that would be like, number one, get started speaking as soon as possible. If you cannot find anyone, just collect a bunch of people and just speak over to them. The more you speak, the more perfect you become at that. The first time I gave the podcast interview, I was like beating myself up, and I was like, what the hell did you speak? Do you even know about it? And when I heard the recording, and that was the time I heard, okay, this was what I gave to the audience. I was not able to hear myself. Are you getting me?
Right.
Right? But moving on to when I don't know, I have given like 30, 40, 50 interviews as of now. The rough number is like 50. And now I know what I'm speaking about. So the moment you want to get into it, just learn of everything as quickly as possible.
So
Excellent.
you're saying to get into motion as quickly as possible, right?
Exactly. So no one wants a speaker who has never spoken at any stage or even at one stage. So get that portfolio build up so that you can do that. Now, let me be very open about it. The ultimate goal of my speaking career is I want to be a TED speaker. This is how it all
That's
started.
awesome.
Yeah, so I'm building my complete portfolio. I have never ever contacted TED till now. It has been like 30 different, 50 different stages, thousands of people. I have still not contacted them. The reason, I'm still building my portfolio, and for the next couple of years, I'm still going to build it. So when I get an introduction to them, it would be like a long 100 list of stages where I have been, so that TED would be feeling, why the hell we didn't call him earlier, right?
Right.
Right.
So make sure when you are going for your ultimate dream, it has to be like a total win for you and a total kind of break it and fuck up for them, that why didn't we did it earlier.
That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. And were
I
there
love it.
certain like meetup groups around where you first started speaking for free?
Meetup.com is definitely one of the websites that I used. But frankly, what I did was on to Facebook, I joined every event organizers that was out. So first of all, make the list of all the events that are happening at your place or around your country, wherever you are. Find out all the event organizers of that area, of that country, or of that events that you have the list for. Connect with them across social media profiles and just keep putting out content on marketing and the or on whatever your market is, and then they would automatically attract you up, and then try to build relationships with them. Another big factor would be to get published on some local newspapers and local TV that they really look at. So for that you can use Hero, help a reporter out. That's really a great resource to get featured in some publication.
Awesome. That's a really excellent tip. So
What's
tell
the
us
name
more.
of it again? I'm sorry. Yeah,
Haro, help a reporter out.
help a
Yeah,
reporter out. Awesome. I like. I might
yeah,
have to use that. That's a great
yeah.
tip right there.
It's Haro.
So what do you have coming up, Harneet? You got some speaking engagements, or you have some events you're attending, or you got some big projects you're working on?
There were like I'm divided into a couple of different parts. So one of them is Harneet as a consultant, where he's already working on different projects, talking to a couple of new people,
Right.
and I'm enrolling some couple of new clients as well for my consulting businesses.
Okay.
In terms of speaking, yeah, this year really looks good because I have already spoken to like four different stages in the first 2 months. And in the next 6 to 8 months, there are like eight different events already finalized. So things are really looking good for this year as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, currently moving up onto, and I'm on a podcasting marathon, man. I'm doing these kinds of podcasts every single day or almost like 5 times or 4 times a week. And I'm really loving it. I'm just kind of getting passionate on being podcast. So so
Yeah, it's
I'm
awesome.
afraid I'm afraid I should not get out of my inventory of of the podcasters.
You really did a great thing, I think, by bringing up just getting in motion because I there's so much stuff that just can pile on to people, and it happens. I believe it happens everywhere, and I think you just kind of get used to that uncomfortableness as you go. Because I still feel nervous and shit sometimes, and I make more than I did a year ago. And I'm just for me, everybody I think gets nervous, but just getting in motion is really helps you. I mean, especially when you start a new business, there's so many insecurities that I think a lot of people have. I was actually talking to somebody yesterday about that. They started their business 3, 4 months ago or something. And I was telling them, like, listen, I know what it's like when you feel like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to make this. Is it worth it? Should I just go get a job? All these things will just start piling up because in the beginning, you're probably not making any money. You're not doing anything other than trying to get your name out there, trying to get something going. And just getting started, I mean, not only will it make you feel better in your head because you're actually doing something rather than sitting there contemplating and letting the pressure just get to you, but it really, I think, pushes you forward just because when you're taking action, opportunities come up. You can't have an opportunity come up if you're not moving in life. You know what I mean? So I think when you said that, it was a really great thing that resonated with me. And I think it's a big takeaway from this call is that everybody, if you've got any idea, even if you're not even an idea, I mean, it could just be something you're doing, just get going on it, get in motion, just start doing it, because even if it's not going to work and even if you fall flat on your face, you're going to be able to adjust the course as you go along and just make tweaks along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Now here I just want to add one quick thing that was a really a good mindset shift that I had on myself. If you are really scared about your ideas getting caught up and kind of getting, I don't know, someone like stealing your ideas and kind of implementing it, I think that idea is really not worth going after. If your idea is so kind of replicable really quickly, like any Tom, Dick, and Harry kind of is gonna just pick your idea and do it. I don't think go after that idea. It is really not worth doing that. So a lot of people are actually posting comments like, "Hey, I have a really cool idea. How do I find the right person to work on that?" Come on, man! You got an idea. Just go out and build it and hire the person. How can a person who is like taking $2,000 from you and trying to make you would steal your idea? Even if he steals it, he still doesn't know how to market it. Even if he knows how to market it, he still doesn't know what you know about all the business techniques, all the strategies, and all that.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
think that
yeah.
taking action is we've always harped on that. I think in this podcast, and all the guests we've had on there have said basically the same thing, which is they were all action takers. Um, and so that's
Frank Kern has something cool where he tells everybody, GTFW, get to fucking work.
right.
It's a really great principle to live by. Whenever I feel like, I don't know, like, am I feeling late? Because I don't know if you guys ever feel lazy, but I mean, there's days where I just don't want to do anything and I just feel like laying there and I'm like, fuck it, I technically don't have to work. I could just sleep, and then I just think of Frank Kern and, get to fucking work. You know what I mean? What are you doing? So I think that's kind of a cool little thing to keep in your head too.
Yeah, now adding on to that, I do all of my interviews after 11:30 in the night over here. So sometimes the interviews are like at 3:30 a.m. in the morning. The Jamie Eventual Millionaire that I just posted about it, I had a call with her at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and I was like completely kind of dressed up and I'm ready like it's like two in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So you have to get out of
Hustling, man.
time zones and all of these things.
Oh, that's awesome. There's a famous quote that I wish I knew. Uh, I think I heard it at a Gary Halbert seminar, like a video on a Gary Halbert video, but I don't think he came up with it. I think he was quoting somebody else, but it was said that money is attracted to speed,
Oh, that's true.
and
Exactly.
so that's an action taking sort of a way to phrase it. Get it out there, get it done.
Yeah, that's
100%.
so true. That is so
Awesome.
true. I've had so many of the people that I work with tell me that one of the biggest things they like about me is that I'm so fast, but not that I'm fast with just delivering copy. I'm fast in responding to them. I'm fast when they send me a message after they've paid me. I don't take a day to respond. I just say, hey, and I do a quick video and I send it to them because that way it's more personal and it builds the trust after they've paid me. And I think a lot of people, they can definitely take something away from that. So that's a really good point.
All right.
All
Well, Harneet, maybe is there anything else you'd like to add? Maybe some insider tips that maybe you haven't already provided. You've dropped a lot of knowledge on this podcast already. Is there some things you that like to implore people to do?
Yeah, I think I'll give them just one thing to do after they just listen it. Just close down your browser of this podcast and just get started to work and just move things forward today. And it would be really kind of awesome for all of us today that we are on this call. And after you end this call, you actually take action out there and just perform something and get back to David, Carlos, and all of us and say that yes, I really did something today to achieve my dream. I really moved one step forward just because you guys kicked my ass today on this podcast. It would be like really awesome.
Hey, what time is it over there?
It's like 12:05 in the night.
Goodness, that talk about hustling. This guy is working at fucking 1 a.m. That's madness. That's hardcore, dude. That's a great example for a lot of people. I don't think people are even paying attention to that. They're just thinking you're on the call. He's on the call doing work at 1 o'clock in the fucking morning where everyone else is asleep. So that's a good little takeaway. Hey man, how can
Yeah.
people find you? What's your website, stuff like that? How can they follow you and get your info?
So they can visit my website, that is www.harneet. It's HARNEET BHALLA.com, and they can look up to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn using the name Harneet Bhalla, and they can find me anywhere on the social media profiles.
Awesome.
Fantastic, man.
That is super awesome, Harney. We'll include that link when we put up the podcast and stuff in a couple weeks. I really want to thank you for coming on the show. You've given some excellent ideas. You're fall in line, and that's why I knew you'd be great on the show. You fall in line with what Carlos and I believe, and the guests we try to have on here, which is to stop talking about it, stop learning about it, and not doing things about it. Just do it and figure it out as you go.
I really
That's it.
appreciate the opportunity, David and Carlos, to be on the show. It's really my honor to contribute to your audience.
Yeah, man. It's been fun having you on here, and you're an awesome guy. I knew when I talked to you before that it was going to be a lot of fun. Carlos, you have anything else to add?
Go follow this guy, man. He's working at 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. This guy's a hustler.
Yeah, people have no excuse. Yeah, people have no excuses if they didn't get that address. It's Harneet Bhalla, HARNEET BHALLA.com. Yeah, get in contact with this guy, and if you do take action after listening to this podcast, get back to the three of us and tell us exactly what you did. Stop being a lazy you know what, and get the fuck to work, as Frank Kern says.
That's right. Send us
Awesome.
a stack because we inspired you. Send us each $1,000 for the inspiration.
That too, yeah. I'd also like to thank Ben Sound at bensound.com for the intro and outro music, and we will see everyone next week. I don't know who the fuck we have on the show because I haven't looked, but it'll be another exciting guest. So tune in then, and everyone have a good one.